Hey guys, this is Garrett Fuller. I'm here at E3 at 10 Ton Hammer, and I am with two people who really don't need an introduction if you play MMOs, Gordon and Richard Vogel, two industry veterans that have been around for a long time. And they are actually showing us Star Wars The Old Republic with LucasArts and BioWare working together with EA producing. So I can tell you we just saw some gameplay footage and it is amazing. And the thing I wanted to ask you guys first is where is the game at? I mean, you announced it, the place went nuts, there was rumors for years. Where are you guys at now as far as developing the game?
Well, I think that we still have a ways to go. We're pretty happy with where we are in development right now. We've made some really good progress, but we're not finished yet. There's still more to do. There's still a lot more to show, which we'll be showing over the coming months. Stuff that you didn't get to see today because it wasn't ready, and we like to make sure that things are really well done before we bring them out in front of the public.
Absolutely.
So one of the things is, BioWare's big about making a quality product, and that's one of the things that we're going to do here is we're going to make a quality product. We're in full production now, and we're iterating a lot and making sure the classes are all fun to play, and that's going to take time to do. So we have we do have a ways to go before we're done. But the good thing about it is our game is fully playable right now, and it's a lot of fun. And basically, one of the things we're doing right now is making sure every class feels different and unique, and that it lives the Star Wars fantasies that people want to live.
It's interesting because we saw a little bit of the bounty hunter, the smuggler, and the Sith running around with the bounty hunter. The next question, and it kind of leads in, but we can talk about some of the classes, is working with Star Wars. I mean, it's an IP that spans generations now. Everybody has a very clear vision of what their Star Wars looks like. It's the second MMO to take on Star Wars, so there's a lot of expectations. How are you guys working with the lore? And you talked about the heroic side of Star Wars. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think it's always awesome to work with the Star Wars license, and we're co-developing the game with Lucas, and they're being really helpful in figuring out a way to take this particular time period, which is much more wide open, gives us a lot more degrees of freedom to really make the kind of game experience that works for an MMO environment. So far so good. No complaints.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, one of the great things about doing this game, this particular Star Wars game, and doing a Knights of the Old Republic type time frame of this game, is that it gives us a lot of attitudes, a lot of Jedi running around, and it's a different type of world that people are sort of familiar with but not familiar with, and it kind of gives us that kind of latitude with a licensor to really do things that we couldn't do if we were near the movies or anywhere in between the movies that we can in our game. And again, I think that allows us to actually push the envelope a lot to make sure people really do feel like they're a Jedi or a bounty hunter. So I think you saw in the demo some of the things we're able to do and the capabilities we're able to do, and it's something that's really given us the freedom because of where we are in the timeline to do that, and that's nice.
Fantastic. One of the things I know I mentioned is you guys have been around a long time. You've seen a lot as far as the MMO industry goes, as far as it's grown over the years. To work on a game like this, I mean, what is still fun for you as senior designers on this game? You guys have been working hard on it for a couple of years. What kind of, during your day to day, you look at it and go, wow, I can't wait for that to hit. I can't wait for people to see this.
Well, we can't wait for it, of course, but we have to because it does take a tremendous number of man hours to build it and then to polish it to the right level. I believe that when I think about this experience, for us, we're not designing the game. We have a great creative director who came to us from BioWare, who was the creative director on Knights of the Old Republic, knows the Star Wars license as well as anybody who doesn't work for Lucas I've ever met, and I think that gives us a little bit of an edge in that thing. What we do is we really create the environment for the team to succeed. That's our job now. It's not to make get all the game decisions. It's to really hire the right people and then make sure that they can make the right decisions to really drive the best possible game experience.
Again, I think, as Gordon said, our job is to help the creative environment of our facility and making a great game. And BioWare, everyone plays the game. That's the great thing about BioWare. And we all have, when we play the game, we all have our feedback, which we give James, and he goes into his team and talks about it. But really, it's up to James and his team and everyone under us to make this game great. And with James's pedigree of working on Knights of the Old Republic and Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, I mean, it's amazing working with him. It's just been an incredible adventure with him. And every time we look at something, we make sure, does it fill the fantasy role of being a bounty hunter or a Jedi, right? And how would you, I mean, one of the things we want to do is make people feel heroic. And if you saw a lot of our combat, it's a lot of multiple combatants on one. It's not just one-on-one. And because we want to make sure that people feel powerful in our game right away. And I think that's the cool part of the game that I look forward to, and the fact that it adds the fourth pillar in our game, which is story, that no one has done before, and makes story compelling, right? And a story, we want to make sure a story is there that doesn't feel like it's in your way either. You actually get gripped with it and really go for it. I think it's going to open up a whole new audience for the MMO genre. That's what I think. Because, again, it's a whole new story experience. It's very driven story experience where people can go through the story and go through the choices and see what happens. And people will play it going through different paths. And, again, the story isn't like you want to go around and vacuum up quests all the time. You actually want to pay attention to it and listen to what they say because your decisions matter in our game. I think that's going to be the biggest play differentiator of our game.
And I'll add to the story thing because, you know, in prior lives, I've been the anti-story curmudgeon for MMOs. Well, I am a curmudgeon, but, you know, I've always thought that the player's personal story was the most important thing. But what really good story done within a game does is it allows you as a player to really buy into it more, to get more immersed, just like you do. So reading a great book or a great comic book versus an average one is a totally different experience. And frankly, most of the other games that I played that had story were average experiences. They weren't above average experiences. And I think that the quality of what we're doing hooks me, who, you know, typically I would go, story, how can I tune it out, right? Because it's getting in my way. And here it doesn't get in my way. It actually drags me in, which is, you know, a new experience for me. And I'm very, very excited about that. And again, Rich and I couldn't have done that. We needed the right team with us to do it, to make it happen, which I think is awesome.
I thought one of the things, the voiceover, everything being voice-driven, an unbelievable development for MMOs overall. I mean, it's really exciting.
Real interesting time about deciding how to do that. When we did it, we originally just had the NPCs talking. And then we put the player character talking, and we went, oh my God, that's amazing. That just drove it. It just made it so much better. It was like, oh, a tremendous amount of work. When we proposed it, we didn't tell them that. I said, so here, we kind of let Ray and Greg play it, right? We set up 2 demos for them. We played it, one with just the NPC talking, and then one with just the NPC and the player character. And they looked at us and said, why is there a decision here? It's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, it was very clear.
It was extremely clear. I mean, that's what makes our game, is that whole concept. I mean, people think we're crazy and insane in doing it, but it just adds a whole new level to our gameplay. It's just amazing.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. Voice and music actually communicate more emotion than anything else, right? So, yeah, but the voice, you know, is what drives the story. And without those characters, without the voice that goes with those characters, and again, just saying we added voice, if it wasn't great, is a detriment, not an add. So it really has to compel people. And I think that we're going the extra mile to make sure that this is driven at the right level of quality. We're not cutting corners to say, oh, how can we get the fewest possible people to do our voice, or hire the cheapest actors, or yada, yada, yada. We're really trying to make sure that the quality remains very high throughout the entire experience. And that, again, we hope is a differentiator for our game.
I think just from seeing the demo, I think so. It's incredible. Now, there's lots of players who've gone down these roads with Star Wars in all types of different games. And again, we talked about the fan base, just at how rabid they are. And you've got a whole new generation now with the Clone Wars cartoons, and kids are really into it. What is the message you guys have for your potential players, your audience out there, as Star Wars fans, as MMO fans, as casual players, as hardcore players? What is something you really want to convey to them? You're itching.
Yep. Well, I think what we want to do is we want to make sure that we fulfill their fantasy, that we give them a play space and a play experience where they're going to go, okay, this was Star Wars. This actually makes Star Wars better for me. It makes it deeper for me. It makes it more personal, and pulls me into where I'm part of Star Wars now. I'm not just experiencing it. I'm actually part of the saga. So I think that that's our goal when you get down to it. We want to make the license bigger based on what we're doing. Not just say, oh, you're cool, we can get people to buy it because it's Star Wars. If it's not really good Star Wars, then that's not so great. We need to make it great so it matches the IP that we're doing. It matches the BioWare brand values, and that we really bring a high quality, high value experience to our consumers. And in the end, they're the ones who decide. They're the ones who they're in charge. They tell us what works and what doesn't, and they buy when it works and they don't when it doesn't.
I like to add, too, that one of the great things about us is I look at what we're doing with the voiceover and the stories is kind of like what silent movies and talkies were when talkies came out. They added the emotion to film that never was there before. And that's why with BioWare style of storytelling that we're doing, emotionally driven interaction decisions, and we're just going to drive that home. And I think that's going to add a whole new experience. When I play other games, it's very silent to me, right? And a lot of reading, where this is, again, it adds a whole emotion. And the great thing about it is we directing our characters. Quality is very important to us. We're not cutting corners on this. So I think people will get a whole new flavor of story experience in an MMO that never had before.
And just to put the capstone on it, we hope if we do our job right, then what we're making is a must-play experience. People are going to, you'll play it and you'll tell your friends, well, I can't really describe it to you, but you must play it to figure it out, because I can't analogize it to anything I've ever played before. So if we do our job, that's the mark we'll hit. That you, when you play it, will have to tell your friends, you've got to try it. So that's our goal.
I like that philosophy, because it's how many games get sold just based on that. You got to try it. I mean, it's so true. So with that, I can't thank the guys for taking thank them enough for taking time for us today. Obviously, our readers and viewers can't wait to see the game. There's a lot of people out there who can't wait to see the game. So thanks so much. It's E3 2009. I'm Garrett Fuller with Rich Vogel and Gordon Walton. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you online, and we can't wait to see Star Wars: The Old Republic.